Thousands of it's big. 30 million.
Hello everybody, welcome to From the Couch. David Perrell here. It's tutorial day, and today is our first CSS tutorial. And if you read the From the Couch title in your browser, it will say From the Couch CSS video tutorials. You know, this is our first one after like 4 or 5 months of being online. Very excited about it. I'm going to show you guys how we implement the grunge effect into a CSS design. Okay, you need 2 layers, one for the grunge border and one for the grunge background within your site. This is the site that we designed for Axel Jeffries. And what you basically need to do is, once you've created your grunge template, you need to separate them, each element. And what I've done here is opened up my trusty old Fireworks MX 2004. I've got the grunge background and a grunge border, which I've exported using, I've put in its own document. It's 1 pixel in width, 80 pixels high. That makes the file very small, easy to repeat. And I've also exported this as a JPEG into the relevant files. So let's go into Dreamweaver and take a look at what we're going to start doing. Okay, here we've got a blank document. I've set it up with the title, and it's connected to the CSS file, which at the moment just has some standard styles. Before I do anything, I just want to point out how we lay out our style sheet. We've got these very cool sort of headers. They're very easy to navigate in. A couple of people I know, they don't even use these, and that blows my mind, because when you go back, it's very easy to go to what you need. For example, if I need to create a header, then I just Control C, enter, Control V, and then create a header area. Now, whatever I do in the header layout will be here. Anyway, so I'm just going to keep it simple. Let's put it as layout. And what I was explaining is, you need 2 divs, one for the grunge background and one for the border. The border goes as a base, and the grunge background goes on top of it. It's 2 layers, okay? So let's create the first layer. We'll call it the container div. So div class, let's get rid of capitals. Div class equals container. And then within that, we need to say div class equals, let's call it post bg. Okay, that will be for all the posts. And then we can create some text, hello world 1, and p, this, like a paragraph. This is a from the couch CSS tut. Okay, Control S. Let's just quickly look at this in our browser. Press F5. There you go, without any styling. It looks as it should look, plain, boring, and pathetic. So now we need to style our container div and our post bg. Okay, now the container div is going to have the border. So we go dot container, open brackets, select the background, go to URL for the background image, select grunge border, press OK, and we want this to be to the right hand side, so the position is to the right, and it must repeat going down, so repeat on the y-axis. Okay, comma. Now we need to set the width of this container div. Okay, now so what we do is we go back to Fireworks and we check the widths of our images, and the post BG has got a 660 pixel width. Okay, so that means that our border, which is 1 pixel wide, needs to be 1 pixel out of the post BG, which makes the container div 661 pixels wide. So width 661 pixels. Okay, let's just move this down, and I realized I spelled width wrong, so let's just move that down there. And also let's order that. Usually I do inline styles, but because of the small screen here, we have to do it, going down. Okay, we also need to set the minimum height to the minimum height of our post BG. Okay, so that the container BG div does not cut off the grunge background of the post BG. I hope that makes sense. Try keep up with me. Okay, so this is the height of this post BG is 600 pixels. So minimum height of the container will make it 600 pixels. Okay, so we press Ctrl S there. Now we need to style our post BG. Everything is contained within the post. enter, enter, tab it so that's within the parent div. Okay, a lot easier to navigate when you come back to the styles. Let's choose our background, which is the grunge background. Okay, and this must be positioned to the top and center and must not repeat. If it repeats, it's going to look terrible. Okay, from there we also need to set the width, which remember is 660 pixels wide, and the minimum height is 600 pixels. Okay. Now, usually what I do from here is, once I've defined my two parent layers, okay, I then go in here and I set a new layer, new div called content. Okay, the content div is where you can set your padding, your margins, things like that. It's a lot easier and it doesn't confuse your heights and your box models between browsers. So let's create the content div. This is the third layer, and this is where all our content will basically go. Okay, so there you got the container, the post BG, which is the grunge background, and then your content, which has no background. It just sets the positioning and the padding. So once again, tab your style in the style sheet, and we say .content, open bracket, set padding to 20 pixels. I love 20 pixel padding, and the margin to 0 pixels. Close that. Okay, so let's see if this works. First time, we've got a container div with the border on the right hand side. So let's double check. Yes, it's on the right hand side. We've got our post BG, which has the grunge background, and we've got our content div, which sets the padding. Let's go to our browser and let's see what happens when we press refresh. Ta-da, works perfectly. So what we have now is our content and everything, and I just want to show you in practice that if I repeat this, if I go and I take the content div and I make many more posts, as if I'm looping through the posts. Oopsie, not the content div, we need the post BG. So let's do that. So now I've looped through, and let's just say hello world 2 and hello world 3, Control S. If you go here, let's press F5, scroll down, ta-da, there you have it. We have another post with another background, with the correct background and the correct border on the right, and everything works very smoothly. Okay. The more backgrounds you want, the more layers you're going to have to start creating, and you're going to have to start getting quite clever with it. But I just wanted to show you the basics of how we created the grunge background within a post with the right hand side grunge border. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to criticize my first CSS tutorial. I hope to streamline them better in the future, but I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found it useful. Thanks very much for watching. This is Dave Apparel, brought to you by Obox Design from the couch. Cheers.